Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome the US Open champion Gary Woodland to the interview room. Gary, welcome to Royal Portrush. It's been a successful year for you so far. How confident are you feeling about your chances this week as you start your bid for the Open?
Yeah, obviously, been a little whirlwind, the last month, but it's nice having 2 weeks off coming into here. Got a lot of work in at home. Got here Sunday. The golf course played twice now. Played 8 holes this morning. Golf course is phenomenal. I think it sets up great for me. I think you more than typical Opens that I played, you really got to ball strike it. But a big emphasis on controlling the golf ball into the greens. Not a lot of run-ups. You're going to have to fly it on the green, which I think sets up pretty good for me. So game's feeling really good. I'm excited for this week.
Great. Well, we'll open the floor to questions. If you raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. We'll start with number 1, Jim.
Gary, where does this golf course rate of all the golf courses you've played? Just how great is this golf course?
The golf course is really, really good. Obviously, the views are spectacular. It's in unbelievable condition. It's very lush, very green, I would say, compared to the last. Last year was so firm and fast. This one, a little softer, I would say, right now. And if the rain comes in, we'll see what happens. But it's been a little different because the wind's been opposite directions than we're expecting this week. So I've hit a lot of drivers so far. I don't anticipate doing that much this week, but the golf course is in perfect condition, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, Ewan.
Gary, how has life changed as a major winning champion, and what's the craziest thing that you've been asked to do since the US Open?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more demand, a lot more attention, I would say, but being off, I've been off 3 of the 4 weeks, since the U.S. Open, since winning. But it's been nice to be home. They had a big day for me at home where I'm from, which a lot of people showed up. I was a little surprised by that. That was pretty cool, especially for my family. Growing up there, my family's been there forever. They still live there, so that was special. But it's just demanding time, learning to manage the time, learning when to say no, when to do things, and still be able to get my work in. That was the big deal. I wasn't prepared to play probably in Detroit a week afterwards, but it was nice to get home this 2 weeks and get some work in and be prepared for this week. I don't know. 3,500 probably. Just a little deal downtown. It was pretty cool.
Okay, the next question from microphone number 2, Steve.
This is your first time here?
It is.
What changes or what's the difference on getting ready for a course you've never seen before as opposed to getting ready for Pebble and other courses? What have you done differently?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just getting comfortable. Obviously, I put a lot of work in the last couple of weeks on ball striking, hitting the ball a little bit lower. Knowing, typically we run the ball up on the greens on a lot of these courses. Here, we're going to be flying it. So I think that's more suitable to be back home a little bit, flying the ball into the green. A little different than your typical Open setup, I would say. But for me, it's getting the speed of the greens down. At Pebble, it was more when I was practicing earlier in the week, it was more getting feel on the lines of the greens. This is more speed for me. I've struggled putting over here in the past. So I've put a lot of work in the last couple of days on speed, and it's, just typically this is a lot slower than what we see back home.
Okay, the next question from microphone number 3 at the front.
If you mind, you said 3,500 people. How many people are in your hometown?
I don't even know. I'll be honest with you. It's changed over the years. I don't know. I don't know the population, to be honest with you.
Probably close to 3,500 would be my guess.
Yeah, close. It was pretty cool.
And the other question is, we've gotten 2 answers to this question about Brooks seemed to think that this is going to be the normal where the power players have the advantage like we've seen over the last few majors, where Tiger seemed to think it kind of opens it up to guys who can control their golf ball, and it kind of equates the distance gap. Which side of that fence do you come in on?
Well, the last couple of days, power's been a huge deal. I mean, I've hit a lot of drivers. I played with Cooch and Zach Johnson yesterday. I think I had a huge advantage playing with those guys yesterday just by carrying the golf ball a long way. There were some bunkers I could cover. Now, the wind's going to come out of a different direction if we get it hasn't been blowing. So if we get any wind and rain, that's going to change, and I think you'll get more to what Tiger was talking about. If the conditions stay like they are right now, length's going to be a huge advantage.
Okay, next question, microphone number 4 at the front here.
Gary, 9 out of the last 10 majors have been won by Americans. This could be the first year in a long time that the U.S. goes 4 for 4. What do you make of that recent trend?
I mean, I like that trend. I mean, it's obviously good, but the game's in a great spot. You have a lot of young guys, you know, Justin, Spieth, you know, all these guys that have won, you know, at a young, but you still got a lot of Europeans and people from all over the world. Rory, you know, obviously this is a huge week for him. So I anticipate there'll be some fireworks out there for him this week.
Okay, the next question from the far left, microphone number 1.
How much variety is there in ways you can decide to attack it off the tee with the number of dogleg holes? Is there a big disparity? You can choose to hit iron or try to cut it with driver? Or?
Huge. I mean, there's a lot of this too. The rough is brutal. I mean, it's lush. So I mean, that's usually, you know, last year it was so burned out. You could hit driver and there wasn't much thought. You were just going to play aggressive and hit it. There's a lot more thought going in this year because if you do miss it offline, I mean, it's if you find the ball, it's chip out sideways. So I think there'll be a little bit more conservative approach for most of the players.
Okay, Derek from microphone number 2.
Gary, can I ask how your wife is doing and whether it was a difficult decision for you to come play this week?
Yeah, definitely difficult. She's doing all right. She's semi bed rest right now. You know, our girls are supposed to come in 2 weeks, so it was a decision. We sat down, we talked about it, and she was the one pushing me to come. So I'm pretty confident they're not going to come this week, but you never know. So I'm hoping that's the case. Next week, Memphis is only an hour away from home, so I can get home pretty easily. This would be a little tough if they came right now. I'm not going to be able to get home. So, but she's hanging in there.
Okay, the next question from microphone number 4.
Gary, you talked a lot at Pebble about your improved short game. I'm just curious, when you already are one of the best players in the world, how do you actually go about improving that area, which is, you know, a lot of hand-eye coordination and
yeah,
finesse?
I had a lot of work to do to begin with. You know, Pete always says I was a 1 out of 10 when I started working with him, and now I'm a 3 out of 10. So I'm getting better, but it's a lot of technique was to begin with, and then it comes confidence because my technique's got to a point where it's pretty good. And now that with that, I build confidence. I'm able to hit some of the shots that I was able to hit at the U.S. Open that really saved me. But technique was the big deal. We changed my technique completely. From setup to grip to the way I attacked the golf ball, the way I addressed the golf ball. We changed everything. We literally started from the ground zero. So it took me a while. I went backwards for a while. It was frustrating. But once I got it, I started to see results quickly, and that translates to everything. I start hitting the ball a little bit better. I have more confidence with everything. So the short game's really transformed everything.
Okay, Doug.
Gary, have you given much thought to the timing of it all, of your U.S. Open win, such a significant achievement, right about a time your life, as you've said on many occasions, is about to get really real? I don't want to say to get that out of the way, but it's a pretty significant achievement, and how much that either takes pressure off you or just frees you up from a lifestyle with life about to get really different.
Yeah, definitely frees me up from a standpoint where I'm able to take a little bit of time off. You know, when things, I mean, I can take some significant amount of time off after the Tour Championship, after the playoffs, just to be home. You know, last year my biggest break was 3 weeks in between tournaments the whole year. So I plan on taking some significant time to be home, and that win definitely allowed me to do that because, you know, we have so many tournaments now for us back home after the Tour Championship. Our season starts right away. Sometimes you feel like you got to get a jump start on everything. I'm getting to a point now where I'm confident enough in my game. Obviously, that gives me a lot of confidence winning a major, but I don't have to play every week where I know I can take some time off and show up and still be able to compete and stay where I want to be.
And where physically and exactly is the trophy, and what goes through your mind when you see it?
Yeah, it's been very close to me for the last month. It's the nightstand, so I can see it. You know, there's a lot of you just want to wake up and make sure it's not a dream. You just want to make sure it's real. So I was thinking about letting my parents have it this week, but I ended up keeping it. It's at home. It's right next to Gabby. She's on bed rest, so she's sitting there looking at it all the time. I don't know if she's excited about that, but it's been pretty close to me.
Okay, Louise.
Gary, did you come here with experience of having played on other Irish courses, or?
This is my first time to Ireland.
Okay, first impressions?
Beautiful. Portrush is amazing. The town, went to dinner the other night out. That's very busy, but the weather's obviously been spectacular. The golf courses, the views, everything's been been very, very nice. I was Graham McDowell's neighbor for 8 years in Orlando, so I'd heard a lot about it. I just hadn't been over here yet, and I'm glad I did because it's a beautiful place. A little bit. Went to dinner. Well, Cooch and I went to breakfast yesterday, and I took about 20 pictures for him. Nobody knew who I was. They all knew who he was. He loved every second of that, I can tell you. But yeah, definitely, probably more than would have been maybe a couple months ago.
Okay, any further questions, Doug?
Yeah, we're just curious what you've done on the 17th in your days of practice.
I've hit driver. I mean, just short of the green. Today I hit it right in the junk and had to punch out. But it's one of those. It was downwind the last couple of days too, and the wind's supposed to switch back into us there on that hole. So, I think it's a tough wedge shot from the top. I plan on hitting driver. Worst case, I think if you get in the fairway, it gets down in that bunker, and you can at least get it on the green. So, a little different, I would say, of a golf hole than you typically see, especially coming down the stretch. It'll be interesting. Maybe you can knock it on that green and make eagle, but I plan on hitting driver on that hole.
Okay, is there any further questions? Yep, microphone number 1 on the left here.
What'd you hit on 16?
Today I hit 5 iron. It wasn't enough. The last 2 days I'd hit 4 iron. That's one too. If the wind's in, I mean, that could be, a brutal hole. You do have a bailout area left there, which you can get it up and down to pretty much every pin. So I think you'll see a lot of balls going left. Right's no fun. So that's obviously weather dictating. If a 5 iron's not the end of the world, it's a pretty big green. But if the wind's blowing and you got the wind coming into you and it's raining, it's going to be a brutal hole.
Okay, if there's no further questions, we'll wrap things up. Gary, thanks very much for your time and good luck this week.
Yeah,